I didn't even know that.
Okay.
Getting ready.
Ya,
I may have to put it on again because I'm gonna go
Ya
reach
se
your
va,
pero.
ya se va, quítalo.
Ahora sí.
All right, well, let's call this meeting to order. We do have a quorum, Mr. Jake Galvin, Mr. Fred Gonzalez, Ms. Sherry Castillo, myself make up the quorum. Also at our head table is our city manager and interim EDC director, Henrietta Turner, our EDC attorney, Sylvia Rodriguez, and our assistant, Charlotte Jimenez Nelson. Fred, would you lead us in invocation, please?
Be honored. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we give you glory in all the things that you do for us. We thank you for your many blessings and for all the provisions that we have here in Forestville. At the same time, we ask that you lead us in what we're doing, that you give us the wisdom and the necessary instructions to carry out our duties in a way that we serve the town and the citizens of this town. We ask all of this in your son's name. Amen.
Amen.
The flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
We're also honored with the presence of our councilwoman, Gloria Estrada Martinez.
Thank you.
And also our city staff person, Margaret Tejada. Citizens' comments? Gloria, Margaret, you have any comments?
No, sir, not at this time.
And then, board, let's go on to reviewing the minutes from our special board meeting on June the 19th. Should be under number 1 in your binder. The only edit that I discussed with Charlotte earlier, in establishing the quorum, Ben Reed should not be as part of the quorum on that one. Y'all agree on that?
I think he remained a member until he actually resigned.
I think the point of contention is that he had, by this time, had he accepted the position?
Yes, June the 13th.
But he hadn't actually,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Not signed the contract yet, but verbally it's not.
But he had verbally accepted the
Yes.
position at that time.
And again, it's here nor there to me,
Yeah.
but resigning, I think, is when he actually quits the.
Do you have the date of his did he submit his resignation?
That's me, right?
No, all I
No.
have is, that's what.
I think we started working on that.
This is your email.
Here you go, Henrietta. This is where you already said that he had accepted.
June 13th.
Yes.
Okay, and we had our meeting on.
June the 19th.
The 19th.
That's fine with me.
And when you look at the votes, he did not participate in any of the votes.
No, no,
So it may be disingenuous to include him on establishing a quorum.
Okay.
Mhm.
Any other changes or
Dissing what?
could you spell that, please?
No, I can't spell it. I couldn't use it in a sentence, though.
I'm not gonna play words with you.
Mhm.
All right, any other changes or corrections or anything we need to look at on those minutes? If not, let's have a motion to approve with the edit.
move to approve and edit.
Motion by Castillo, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Gonzalez, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 4-0. All right, consideration and action to approve the Floresville Peanut Festival Association sponsorship. Remember they were here at our last meeting, they were asking for a donation of $1,100 to their billboard. And we have a legal opinion that was provided to us by our attorney.
And if I may,
Sure.
Before we get into that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
I have a statement on that, and this is in reference to some other things that I've talked about, actions that we had before, including this. And to be sure that I cover everything, I'm going to read and then talk about it a little bit. I continue, and this is true, to be concerned that expending 4B funds for other than projects, for example, for donations, is not authorized. I might concede that such expenditures may be permissible under the limited promotional allowances. However, even that is questionable here. And let me tell you why. I looked up Attorney General Opinion JC 0118, which says all sections 4B, all section 4B incidental costs must be related to a project / may not expend section 4B sales tax proceeds for promotional purposes. And then it's clarified to mean that such promotional expenditures may not be used for promotional costs unrelated to projects. Thus, it would appear that even promotional expenditures would be allowed only if related to specific acceptable projects. So my thinking is donations or contributions for celebratory events or such cannot be 4B funded, regardless of what positive effect they may have for the city. In this case, the city has already approved $35,000 under the proper, in my opinion, hotel motel tax authority. And here again, the money amount is not my concern. It never would be. I'm concerned that we're getting too many of these donation type requests. And in my opinion, based on what I said, they're not properly authorized. Now again, on the promotional end of it, I think that's a little bit more relaxed and it probably can be interpreted, but I still would think that if it's not related to a project, we're not following the proper authorization on that. That's my thinking, and I've always thought that incident. I just never really researched. But just a statement.
thank you. If I may, Mr. Gonzalez,
Sure.
Mr. President,
Sure.
and honorable board members, we are able to do this, but it is under a limited exception, which is Texas Government Code Section 505.103, because it is a marketing tool, it is for promotional for the city. And as long as we have not exceeded over 10%, we're okay. But I agree with you, it is a limited exception, and I know that at the very beginning when I first came on board, that we had asked, or you had asked
Right.
for a workshop, so that can be figured out, because there are other exceptions, but the other exceptions are very limited, where it's just, there does have to be pending projects.
Right.
And they are, however, this, we are allowed, Mr. Gonzalez, under this, as long as we have not exceeded over 10%. It's okay. We cannot do fireworks and stuff of that nature, but this is something a little bit different. This is for promotional, it is for marketing purposes, to encourage people to see all the good stuff that is going on within the city of Floresville. And this is one way to get them in.
And I appreciate what you're saying, and again, my
Yes, sir.
opinion and the way I think is not necessarily prevailing here, and I realize it. But I still think that there has to be a connection to the projects, because projects are what we are all about.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Donations and events, nightly, daily events, they don't, in fact, as I understand, the projects should have to be approved by the council.
Yes, and I think that hopefully in the near future, since there will be an executive director that will come to the helm, no disrespect, Ms. Turner, but you are in trouble, that I think that hopefully by that point, we'll be able to have a workshop and to look at the other limitations and stuff of that nature. So possibly the board of directors can then do their own policy and say, you know what, these are going to be what we're gonna be looking at. This is gonna be the criteria that we will establish, which we will, as a board of directors, feel comfortable with.
And again, you know, and I've asked for that, and Mr. President, you know I've asked for that.
Yes, sir.
I just need to feel like we all know what it is we're
Yes, sir.
doing and why, and to the extent that we can interpret like we're doing now.
Yes,
You know,
sir.
there's some flexibility, and I know it, the law says it,
Yes,
but it always has been rather, like you say, limited.
Yes.
And the 10% is not necessarily the all-around criteria. It has to be also our thinking.
Yes, sir.
How we feel about it. Because, you know, we're doing very well, but I hope to have major projects coming up
Yes.
in the near future, meaning where we have enough money to really attack
yes.
things that are meaningful for the city, not here.
Oh, yes.
And again, there's other sources, not necessarily do they meet those either. Thank you.
I agree, yes, sir.
Any other discussion on the peanut festival contribution?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Are we ever audited, is the FEDC ever audited on donations? And if we give to for the wrong reasons, what are the consequences? Have we ever been audited?
Well, according to the attorney, it's not for the law.
No, but I mean,
In
I'm
the
just
past.
asking in general, I'm asking the question.
Yeah, I think
Because-
the audit probably includes everything that,
Okay, so the audit that you
That was
just,
done.
that was just done, and audit in previous years, which is a tax part of the city, we have to file our audit with the state comptroller. And so if there was gonna ever be an issue, it'd come from the state comptroller, because you get your funds from sales tax. And so, no, I am not aware of the city of Floresville being audited in reference to misuse of those funds. You would have been notified officially. But though you have a single audit that you did this time that I think you have to approve later on in this agenda, but in previous years, it was part of the city council, and no, the auditor has not mentioned anything or any improprieties, any concern, as the auditor expressed. We've had the same one for the last 10 years.
Is the city donating other than from,
Hot tax?
yes?
No, ma'am. That is the avenue that the city council has used for some time. Prior to us using hot tax, I don't think they made any financial contributions, but I would say in the last 4, maybe 5 years, they've used hot tax as a way to give funding to them.
Thank you.
But
And
here-
if I may just real quickly, Mr. Turner, and is it correct too that because we have utilized the same auditors, that had they seen that there was a misappropriation of funds, they would have advised you and council and
They
the
love
board of
doing that. They
directors
have
as
no
well?
problem making comments on that audit. They would have definitely made a manager report on that one.
If I may again, Henrietta, you know, the hotel motel tax also has very strict
Yes, sir.
requirements. You know, it isn't just a fund you can use for just about anything. In fact, to me, that's very restricted. I think we're not doing a good job with it, that's my opinion.
Yeah. Heads and
So
bids,
you'll be-
the heads and bids, I think, is definitely the focus.
Yeah.
okay, any other discussion on item 1B? Now let's entertain a motion one way or another.
And if I may, Mr. President, just
Ma'am.
to help the board feel a little bit more at ease on this, I actually did speak and inquire to make sure that the board had not exceeded the 10%. And I was told, no, we're not anywhere near that. I wanted to make sure, since that was the only exception to get this done, that did not happen.
That would be 10% of about $880,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, we wouldn't
Yeah.
even close.
I wanted to make sure, because I don't know,
But
and
there
I'm brand new
again,
on
that's
here.
flexible, we determine that, we don't even have to have anything if we decide not to.
I wanted to make sure, so just wanted to let the board and Mr. President, you know about that.
Appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
All right. So any action on 1B?
Is it one B?
Yes. Yeah.
One more question. Will we have a say-so on what is placed on the billboard?
That's good.
They will list, from what I remember from the presentation, they'll list you as a sponsor, but they have their standard advertisement to advertise the Peanut Festival for the city of Floresville. And they also will be advertising in some of their other advertising for listing all the hotels that we have here in the city of Floresville. But they have their standard, but they will list you as one of the sponsors. I
And the
think
hotels, it'll have a logo of the hotels.
Yes, and they have a local on hotels for their advertising, other than what they put in the Wilson County News, because that doesn't really count for us in the motel tax part.
Is this for one billboard?
Yes, ma'am, it's for the one billboard.
For 2
on
months? Is it 1 month?
30, is that 35 or 37, I guess?
37.
37. And that is the cost to change the artwork. The city rents the billboard for the 12 months, but to change the artwork, it's $1,100 is what it costs to change the artwork.
Is that the total amount of, we're sponsoring the full amount?
No.
What is
No.
the total?
Yes,
They give
that
us
is
a
the
total
full-
amount?
The full amount. That is the full amount to change the artwork on that particular one.
That's not including the rent.
Oh,
So
okay.
the city pays the rent on it.
Yeah. That's just to change the artwork on it.
Did you say the city pays the rent?
We pay the rent for the billboard most of the time, so.
How much is the rent?
$2,000 a month.
$2,000 a month. That's
That's a key
for
location.
2 months, so.
So we allow them to put it up on the billboard. We don't charge them rent for that. Only the cost to change is what we do, because then we have to pay to change it back.
Okay.
So if I may, the 1100 is silver sponsorship, and it's in your packet.
And it'll give you.
Banner listing at the festival, listed on the association website and Facebook, listed on various print materials. And that gives us a silver sponsorship. Is that the only sponsor?
So going forward in the future, because I'm thinking what's gonna happen next year, would we approve this? I mean, given the fact that we haven't had a workshop, we haven't really talked about what we want to do or not do, nor the budget, taking into effect the budget. Is this something that we would want to do next year, or are we setting a precedent? Are we setting a precedence?
I think that's a good point. I think all these contributions, whether it be at our level or at the council level, I think that all should be done at the beginning of the year.
Which
I
is,
agree with you.
I think, in Ben's absence, and he does apologize for his absence, we've met a couple of times this week. There is an item on your agenda to talk about a special meeting, I believe. Is that right?
Yes, next Monday.
A special meeting, and one of the things on there, Ms. Castillo, is actually get dates and things for the committee for budget workshops. And so that would be an appropriate time to talk
Right.
about if you really want to put it in there and to budget for it. So it's not necessarily you won't have to vote. Once you approve the budget, it's been approved in that budget process.
I said council, but I meant Visitors Bureau.
But
All that
again,
should come ahead of time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to do is put it in the budget process. And so on your agenda, and my eyes are failing right now, but on your agenda.
Because right now we have an amount, but we haven't designated it to organizations,
Yes.
certain, right?
And you can, what you can do is put aside like a dollar amount for
Yes.
advertising to go for that, and then you can approve each one as they come and apply if that's what you so choose, or you can say Peanut Festival, and this is all we're going to approve, and then not have to revisit it again. But that's gonna be your, and so they're looking at requesting a special meeting on Monday, July 15th, to discuss budget committee and workshop dates. And those dates, you all can discuss these kind of things with your new director, Mr. Bigley.
again, I think from what I remember, Mr. President, we have, what, 30,000 budgeted for that purpose?
The last conversation I had regarding that with Mr. Reed is that is the number he gave me.
30,000.
For
But-
donations in general, I mean.
For
Marketing and
marketing.
promotions,
Oh.
which, you know,
Marketing,
that major
advertising, yes.
broad heading, I think, encompasses what you're saying.
Yes.
But I still think we need a workshop on other than that. And I would recommend very highly for our attorney to give us a little training like she did on conflict of interest. I enjoyed that,
Yeah.
but it was very, very successful too.
Okay. Okay, I'll get that together, yeah.
Mr. President, given the fact that this is a worthwhile donation, I move to approve, to provide the $1,100 to the Floresville Peanut Festival Association.
Motion by Castillo to approve. Is there a second to that?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Galvin. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Right?
Motion carries 3-1. Gawana Castillo Tejada, Mr. Gonzalez Valdivia. All right, next item, CNA to approve Peanut Festival Parade entry to represent EDC on October the 12th. Who brought this up? I don't remember. Somebody mentioned that we should be.
Sherry.
Oh. Thank you.
Sherry wants to be in the parade.
Quick tattletale.
All going back to advertising FEDC and the good things that we do in the city, because no one ever, well, maybe the paper does, gives us credit for the things that we do. But I think that we need to do something, that we need to be visible, we need to advertise FEDC.
Well, even further, are we still allowed to be in the Peanut Festival, what do you call it, the coronation?
Coronation.
I mean, y'all both are on the peanut court.
What do you mean, are you able to be in the coronation?
Who wants to
Y'all
be
have
in
never
it?
been in it. I mean, you've never
Could
been
we-
in the coronation.
What do you mean, be a representative?
No,
To
no,
be,
no.
to
I
acknowledge
don't
y'all.
think so.
That's for the
No.
queen on.
Not for
queen on
$1,000.
the
You would,
court.
you could be in it.
Are you?
Not for $1,000, maybe.
Oh, I see.
Not for
If you're
$1,000.
going to 25,
If you go to 25, they may allow you, but I don't think for the $1,000.
I think
you
Mr.
can do that.
Gonzalez will be
That
real
will be a
good at that.
lifelong unfulfilled dream for her.
Mr. President, I think you've gone overboard on this
Okay.
one, so let's get back to the matter.
All right.
Do we want to,
Okay.
You do need a city representative if you'd like to represent the city in the
Yes, Sherry.
coronation.
I think our executive, maybe he and his family might want to do that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
There's no fee, and the deadline is
Well, why don't we just say that we'll leave it at the director's discretion?
I think so,
Okay.
And the second director,
Yeah.
yes.
I so move.
So move.
I second.
Second. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Leave it at the discretion of the director, executive director. Okay, item D, CNA regarding the city of Floresville becoming certified in the Film-Friendly Texas program.
Our main speaker for that is not here.
Do we have
So-
any information on that, Ms. Turner?
Yes, the attorney prepared for you all a resolution,
Yeah, okay.
Dr. Blue, a resolution.
The application for commercial
Yeah,
filming?
Roy provided a presentation for you at the last meeting, board member, and the city attorney prepared the resolution for you all to pass and have the application and to make it fit for the city of Floresville. And I believe
$25?
For what? I'm sorry.
the process.
Oh, yes, it is. It's an application fee of $25. I did, it is attached. I think that a lot of the cities are going into this. It's a great marketing tool, and I think that we have a jewel of a city, and we just need to put it out there and make everyone know that we are Texas film friendly,
Okay.
and that we're ready to go.
I know Mr. Roy is very excited about this. Any details that
That was alarming?
is
No.
alarming? No?
No, I did not see anything that was alarming on that.
I think it is definitely, from the class that I took, it's definitely something that helps with the sales tax, because the state really requires for them to buy as much as they can in your local area, so that they can buy all their tools and things such as that from your local McCoys and things like that. So it's a really big sales tax booster. The other thing that's really interesting is that they make them, if they make any improvements, like they have to do lights or something, they make it where it's permanent improvements, not movie studio improvements. So when they make improvements to a sidewalk or to a street or whatever, they have to be permanent improvements when they do that. So Austin can't participate in this, but everybody else can, because Austin, everybody makes do that. And for the camera, I believe there's 7 total movies that have been filmed historically in the city of Floresville. And I believe Steven Spielberg's first movie that he directed was here in the city of Floresville.
So what does it take from us to be able to do what's asked right here?
Fill out
Is
the
it just the fee?
application?
Is it just the fee?
Well, somebody has to help process. So you have to be like the ombudsman for the film industry. You have to say, you have a really nice house, for a $25 fee, if you want to, put your name in the process, you have to do all this picture taking a lot and then submit it to the state and say, I'm available. So there's some manpower and a little sweat equity that EDC would need to do to promote this type of thing to happen. because you have to take pictures and you have to get agreements and everything to get on the list.
So
The state.
there has to be a body then doing that kind of thing.
Yes.
Yes.
And this is what Roy said that he would be interested in doing. is,
Yes.
You know.
So you become like the liaison between the two. You have a lovely house, she's got chickens, and so we go and we say,
You know, she has roosters.
roosters too, oh my goodness. So then we say, these are the interesting points, help them fill out the application, process the application to the state, and then she gets on the list. And then they can come and they negotiate with the homeowner, but you have to have permission from them. And then, so this is what this is going to be, to
So
follow the guidelines.
do we need a coordinator prior to filling out the application? Does the coordinator fill out the application and then?
It's a
So
partnership.
we need to name someone today?
No.
No.
No, just have to say that this is something that EDC wants to
Yeah.
pursue.
If we want to pursue
I
this.
bet you have these guidelines to say this is the way we're gonna pursue it. So there's a $25 application fee, these are activities and, you know, differently what the hours would cost. And these were set by the state, I mean, these are acceptable, so this meets the state criteria, which is really important, that you're following the guidelines of the state.
But who's going to fill out the application? That's my question.
The homeowner needs to fill out the application, but you need staff to help somebody else.
The homeowner, we need,
The owner of the property, because they want to do it at your house or on your land.
but who gets that homeowner to want to do it?
So you-
That's what I'm
Executive
getting
So
at.
EDC's gotta promote it and then say, come on,
Yeah.
you know, look at the big picture. If they do it they go shoot chickens and roosters, then it helps the whole city.
Or public streets, like just downtown, then
Oh,
yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, I remember the last one was the Sugar Land Express, the King Streeter,
It
and.
was mostly a highway and downtown, right?
Yes, exactly. And then from here, I think they went to both, to that restaurant that was right there at the intersection where the light is at,
Yeah.
to eat hot dogs or whatever it was.
But the nice thing about it is that once you get enough people on the list, then they start just coming to look. You know, it's a really big tourism thing because people would just come to take a picture of the backdrop of what was in this movie or the highlight. And so it's a really big tourism thing that people want to come into.
And I remember the streets were just packed with people.
Yeah.
You know, people from San Antonio,
It's a
they
good
draw,
thing, yeah.
yes, they, exactly.
Yeah. So it's to actually be a genesis to light the fire underneath people going forward to make this thing happen. You know, so that's what you have to be able to have somebody to prod somebody to
Yeah.
say, come on, get on the list. Now I got 10 people on the list. They'll come look and say, oh, this is a really good thing. Let's do that.
I don't have any problem making the motion here. My concern is that there's gonna be somebody that incurs the responsibility to make it happen. And so who's gonna be that somebody?
For example, the last page on the application says the application is approved by Floresville representative.
Yeah,
Right.
so that would have
I
to
would
be,
say Mr.
still,
Reed.
Mr. Reed, yeah.
Your executive
Mr.
director.
Mr.
Okay.
Reed and
Okay,
Mrs.
now
Nelson.
we're getting to.
And I think that, nice.
And that becomes.
And even Mr. Roy,
Mr.
he
Roy.
will volunteer if
It
he's
falls
on
under
there.
his responsibility then. Now, he may ask Roy to help him or something like that.
Yes.
But that's my concern, see, because I can make the motion, I don't have a problem. I would like to be certified as such. The only thing is, who incurs the responsibility to make it happen?
And I
Yeah.
think what would be exciting about becoming certified, if I may, is you get to list it and tell everybody, hey, guess what? We're a Texas film-friendly town. Look at us. And that excites people. There's gonna be people out in the public that are gonna get excited and say, you know what? I wanna go there. Because if they're filming there, or they're allowing filming to go on, I wanna go there. I wanna be a part of that.
Yeah, and I think the unique thing about Ben, having such history in the city of Floresville, I was just telling him, you know, they have, the prison has, the jail has 3 historical connotations.
I just heard the right word, Ben.
And I think he's charged and ready to go on this
Okay.
as well.
Okay. let's
Ready
do it.
for a motion then?
1D,
No, I mean, are we gonna move on that?
yes, please.
Go ahead, Fred.
I move that we approve Peanut Festival Parade entry to represent Floresville on October the.
Oh,
Fred,
I'm sorry.
D.
No, no,
D.
D,
To become certified.
Take it
regarding the
back.
film.
Take it back. That's the one you wanted to represent somebody, no?
Yes.
Okay. CNA regarding the, I move that regarding the city of Floresville becoming certified in the film-friendly Texas program administered by the Texas Film Commission, and that this becomes initially the responsibility of the executive director to make it happen.
I second it.
Motion by Gonzalez, second by Castillo. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Okay, new business, item 2A. CNA to appoint members of the EDC to include any reappointment of current members to fill vacancies of treasurer and secretary. We're still missing, how many members? We're missing 3 members tonight. Do we want to put this off for another meeting?
If you don't mind, I already talked to Roy, and he seemed very interested, and he's got that background and the knowledge that I think would help us
Okay.
in that area.
Okay.
So he said it was okay with him.
Okay.
So I move that we nominate or elect Mr. Idrick as the treasurer of FEDC.
Okay.
I second it.
Okay. And secretary? We'll just do one, okay? Motion by Gonzalez, second by Castillo to appoint Roy as our treasurer. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 4-0. And secretary? Table it till next week?
Yes.
Now we need to look at some other people.
Okay, let's have a motion to table that, please. Item 2,
So moved.
so move.
I second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Okay, 2B, CNA to approve the paying the city's outstanding fees from fiscal years October 2013 through September 2017, the amount of $295,202 for the audit.
Okay.
I'll let you go from there, Mrs. Turner.
Thank you. Okay, so if you look at the first invoice for the city of Floresville, that number is what was audited, that was presented by your audit. And so,
I'm sorry.
the 295,
What are we looking at under number 2?
2,
Yes,
yes.
2B.
so
Yeah,
that
but
is,
on the package here.
right, so that is the amount we have, the payroll for those years, and that amount is about $2 off. Do I do my math right? Of what the audited amount is, and so we don't have the backup documentation because it's based off your audit. The difference between 295, 172, 95, and
$2 off.
295, 202, how many? $2.
295, 172, 95.
And so that's based off the audit from 2013 to bring you to the 2017, 2018 amount.
It's $30 off, isn't it?
Well, actually, I'm going to redline, we need to pay what was audited in the audited amount
$295,202.
to what it says right here that would appear, 295,202.
Okay.
Why are the amounts from year to year so
2905.
different?
They gave, at one point in time, Mr. Baker was actually approving for the transfers, and then he stopped.
The what?
He was approving for the transfers out of your pool of cash to the city council's account. And he was doing it early in 2013, and then 2014, 15, and then he stopped transferring the funds. He's been, we had to transfer it. He stopped, and that's basically the payroll that was going forward, and that's why it started rolling up, and then he just stopped altogether.
And then why in 2017, 2018, it jumped up to 188?
Yeah, what does that include? Because that's not a salary.
That's not even
Not even
2
close.
salaries, that's almost 3.
Yeah.
I can get you the backup for this. I didn't bring the backup for that. I do have it for the other amounts. But I didn't bring the backup for that because I thought that was audited number amount. Because I think she has it for you.
You have it?
Yes, but she didn't duplicate it because we were trying to clear all the trees.
You have the backup for 188,578? You have the backup for that amount?
She has a backup for the full $295,202.
So other than the salary, obviously there's other things included, right?
Does that include that?
And the accounts payable process as well. So it's not just his payroll, it's also accounts payable that they were paying in full cash. But can you want to get that? Let me go get it for you, it's on your table. I'll look at some of the things. If you look at, not to jump ahead, but if you look at the next one, you see that you have other accounts payable that's in here. So it's not just salary, it's also accounts payable.
Right.
If you look at the invoice, it says payroll and accounts payable process.
But even with accounts payable, 48,930, that's 49,000 if you round it off, plus a salary, that's still not, doesn't come out to 188.
Okay, two different things. We
Okay.
have two different approvals. One of them is based off the audit, that's the 295. You all, in the last meeting, gave the directions to say you wanted to bring it current, not just what was in the audit. Is that correct, Charlotte, from the minutes? That you want to bring up everything current. So this pile here is everything that had to do with the 295, 202.
I know, but the thing in question is the amount for 2017 to 2018. That's the amount in question. Right, Mr. President?
Yes,
mean,
that's what I was asking.
Oh.
It sounds, if it's payroll, that's,
It says payroll and accounts
But it
payable.
says accounts payable, but if you have only 49,000 for accounts payable,
These are all of the,
Where are you getting the 40?
right here, the next page,
okay, that's a separate,
it says,
that's a separate issue.
oh,
We're
okay.
gonna just talk
it's
about this
current.
one.
Okay.
The auditor one. These are all of the invoices that the auditor says that we pulled out, that they needed to be transferred over.
Okay.
This is what comes from the audited number now, accounts payable as well. So
Okay.
we received that number from what the auditor said that he presented to you all for the total amount of 295, 202.
I have a question. Why did we wait it from 2013 to 2017 to claim this amount, the 295,202 per audit payable?
That's what you asked your auditor when he was here to present, and he said that Mr. Baker was supposed to transfer those funds, and he did not. They mentioned in the last audit that they needed to transfer those funds because the city can't just go in there and grab them. He has to transfer those funds, and he has not. He did not.
We don't do an yearly audit on stuff like this to make sure that everything is done by yearly, not wait
Yes,
3-4
which I
years down
think
the
that was one
line.
of the questions that your chairman asked, and they said because it was such a nominal amount and they knew you all had the money, they didn't mention it in the final, in the audit that they had the year before, or the audit that they did, a single audit the year before, because they knew the monies was there, so they never said that the city was due from. But he said that they never actually mentioned to do that before. I think that was
well,
that your question?
I think he said that it was in the city's audit all these years.
It was in city's audit, but he never pointed out that their monies needed to be transferred. They audit every year,
But they didn't transfer the money.
but they never said, you all need to transfer the money at this time.
Well, I think we need to do it yearly.
Well, what we plan on doing going
Well, yeah,
forward
to eliminate
is
that.
to bill you on a monthly basis. Charlotte has been working with Connie very closely, that on a monthly basis, if there's any due to the city, when you get your report and the treasurer gets his report, it'll be a monthly invoice.
Just like all the other bills.
So when you come in for your report that the city's supposed to give to you, we will give you an invoice on a monthly amount, so that we're gonna have that going forward.
And the responsibility of the board at that time from 2013 all the way to 2017, do you remember any kind of conversations that the appointed board had regarding this?
No. No, not that I can remember, and I
It
attended.
just was kind of like,
Well, it was kind of like, everything was getting paid, nobody had any complaints. We did mention it to Mr. Baker on several different occasions, and he kept saying he wouldn't transfer it, but no, it never came to the board officially. And I attended most of your meetings, most of them, probably 95%.
Was there a substantial purchase under accounts payable for the 2017-18 year? Because that's over $100,000.
188.
Because Baker was getting paid, what, 70 or what was it, 70?
where is that at? What we're discussing?
Right here on this page.
Yeah, the less
If you
figure.
subtract his salary from 188,500, I mean, that's a substantial amount. What did we purchase? Because we were here in November, what did we purchase for that amount? For over $100,000?
Because his
I mean-
salary was 73.5 or 73.
Yes, that's what I'm
I can't remember
saying.
exactly, but
Okay, but
So
you
it's still
remember,
over, yeah,
Oh,
over
wait.
110 for sure.
Right.
but his salary, even if you paid him the 83,000, you also have to think about his benefits that you have to pay as well.
Oh,
So
yeah.
even though an employee may cost you $80,000, all their benefits and those kind of
It was in
things.
the nineties, when you look at benefits and
It
everything. it was
comes in
the
the,
90s.
sometimes between $15,000 to $20,000.
So even if it's 80,000 with benefits, we still have 100,000. So was there a major purchase? I mean, do y'all, because we were on the board in November, right? What did we buy from November?
I can't think of any major purchases at that time.
Is his buyout included in here?
What I
Oh,
would
yes.
like to see is an itemized list, rather than going through all the paperwork, an itemized list of what was spent.
Okay, if we, because you're gonna have a meeting on, on the 19th. Then what I could do is have an itemized list of what's payroll and what's there, and then
So that right there is this 188?
it's both of, yeah, this is the 188. It's the 294, but what I'll do.
It's the whole thing.
Yes, what I'll do is I'll have itemized what these items are, you break it down, and I should have it at your meeting on the 15th, if we could table this item and then the next item, then we
Yeah.
can make sure that we get that number.
Yeah, because going back to 2016-17, that 55,000, it rounded off to 56,000. That would not even include his salary, so he must have paid something, we must have paid something on that account, right?
So we'll get your itemization on that for your meeting on,
Mhm.
if you decide to have your
On
meeting
next
on
Monday.
next Monday.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we'll get that for you for items, there's 2 items in B. Because there's the one that the audited number of 295,202, and then the other, the 48,936, okay? Can we do that, Mr. Chairman?
So
Right?
For a total of 349,100.
okay, we don't have any numbers on that 48? Any backup on that?
Well, I want, it'll be the same thing, because she'll say she needs the itemization, so we need to, if you could table both items, and then I'll bring them back itemized of what's payroll and what items are for
Okay.
the AP, then we can bring them both back for item B.
The recommendation is we table item 2B.
Before we go on from here,
Okay.
are we doing something already to make sure this doesn't happen again? Are we planning on doing it? and
The
doing it?
directive we gave, was it to you, is that we stop that practice where we're waiting a year or 2 years or 3 years to it should be on a regular basis. We said every payroll, they should send us an invoice,
Right,
and we immediately pay it.
no longer than a month,
The monthly financials are in there.
no longer than a month, but if it's possible, the week, the bi-weekly.
Yes, we'll do it on a monthly invoice.
Right.
For the payroll, any outstanding invoices. As I said, Charlotte's been working with Connie to make sure that we have that, and she understands what that is coming forward, so that we can submit those when we submit that on your monthly meeting. So it'll be a little delay, but the delay will be, you're paying, in July, you're paying June's invoice, and then July, you're paying in the next month.
So when does that process of doing it, as you're indicating now, begin?
Well, we've been doing that, Charlotte, how, we've been doing it, for payroll, for you?
I just started
Okay.
learning.
But we're starting as soon as we can.
Moving forward, yes, sir.
Right.
So we have, at the end of your last tab, on tab 3, you have budget versus actual.
Okay.
The breakdown, and it also includes,
It includes your projects, we had the Freedom Fest, you did 15,000. The downtown decoration, you did 30, because you wanted to see what your estimated balances are. It's on the very last one of your
So
report.
beginning the process, we're starting to not get in this hole again, is starting now.
Yes.
Not waiting until we resolve what we're looking at.
Correct, and we'll be able to bring you, at your next meeting, we'll make sure that you have an invoice for anything that's outstanding, and it'll be itemized.
Okay.
One more question before we move forward. On the salary that we just mentioned, that our FEDC director gets, then on top of that salary, do we deduct his pension, his taxes, or whatever the case may be? Or that's money going directly to him, and then the city, or we pay, on top of that, we pay the taxes and so on and so
So
forth?
his salary goes to him,
Okay.
okay? but, and he pays his family portion, but you provide the basic insurance.
Yes.
So that goes to the city, so that's on top of his salary. And then, of course, you have his vacation time and those kind of other benefits you pay on top of his salary. Those other things you have to pay, income tax, like you have my HR person here, but you have to pay all kind of insurances and those kind of things, you have to pay on top of the salary.
We have to pay on top of the salary.
On top of the salary,
If
it's
I
not part of
remember
his salary.
correctly,
Am I wrong?
and we had 8 amounts to about 20,000 rounding it.
So any employee come anywhere between, depending on what he or she makes, it usually costs between $15,000 to $20,000 more than what their salary is, that the employer is responsible for. So if he comes in, I'm just picking easy, I'm going to do it's $50,000, then when you get through with other benefits, it's 20, so that employee really costs you $70,000.
Let's say that, and I don't know his status, but let's say that he's married and have kids. He pays, we pay for him, but does he pay for his family?
Yes, he
Right.
pays for his
Okay.
family,
All right.
yes. Yes, because it's the same policy with the city, he pays his portion of his family. 70/30, 100%. 100%. And we pay 100% for the employee.
Right.
But, right.
I move that we table item B.
Motion to table by Gonzalez, is there a second?
I second it.
Second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 4-0. Item 2C, consideration and action to resolve overpayment to EDC Director Tommy Baker. Update presented by Henrietta Turner.
Okay,
Before we go into that, is this a open session item, Madam Attorney?
It's an open session, so, yes.
Can we go into closed session if so needed?
It's not put on the, no, not the way that we have, how we have it on the agenda.
Okay, let's go forward.
okay, so
We'll get some coffee.
Yes.
we've been discussing the overpayment for Mr. Baker. I'm trying to find it.
Let me ask, excuse me, before we go on,
Thank you.
so
Yes, sir.
on that item we had at the very end, you know, the little statement about us having the right to, or reserve the right, that doesn't apply on item that we didn't put in there to begin with.
Let me look at it real quick.
Yeah, please, because, you know, I just want to make sure,
Okay. If I can give
because it just seems
couple
like
minutes.
it's already covered. in
Under
case
that
we don't-
section
yes, right.
551, let me make sure, okay?
Okay.
I always feel more comfortable when you have it totally addressed.
Me
on
too, but
there.
I will make sure that, because we have it in there for a purpose.
Mhm.
Do we have a handout in here on that item, on C?
Yes, there might be the blue page.
Where is it? Oh. Got it.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Under what?
Tab 2, it's
two.
behind
And
the
did you
invoices,
notice-
the city invoices.
If you notice a little yellow tab right here, that's what we're starting.
Yeah.
No,
The yellow tab.
So the yellow tab,
Sorry,
the
purple.
little tab is
Behind on the
talking
page.
about the invoice
Behind
for
on
the
the
city of
page, yes.
Floresville, so that we can invoice for
Where's the
payment.
little yellow tab?
Yours
So-
is pink.
So,
Okay, the pink one right here.
Yours is purple.
so it would be behind,
You
behind
just
the
pay because you're
So
special.
that one talks, yeah, that talks about
That's
the
what my
invoices
mother used
coming
to
forward.
say.
Did you see your invoice? So that's the invoice for the city manager interim. So we're gonna be doing that on the next list. That's the invoice.
Just that one, yes. Behind the building here?
Yes.
Yes, that starts the section.
Thank you. Together we make one whole.
It's called teamwork.
Piece by piece, right?
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm still looking at this real quick. I'm still looking to try to answer Mr. Gonzalez on.
Yeah, I was asking, Mr. President, if that item that says we reserve the right on any item above applies.
The 551,
Yeah, well, generally it applies to everything we've talked about.
I think we might be able to move into executive session under 551.071, the consultation with an attorney. If we are going to discuss a settlement offer, is that part of
Right.
that item?
Yes.
Mr. and,
Yes.
and Board of Directors?
Yes.
Under that exception, you can go into executive session to consult with your attorney regarding the settlement offer. You can go under pending or contemplated litigation. I don't know if that's something that we might end up having to do.
Absolutely.
But
Contemplated.
under that exception, we would be able to go into executive session. 551.071.
Okay.
And that would be to seek the advice of an attorney about pending or contemplated litigation
And that's
or
exactly
regarding
what
a
it is.
settlement offer. Yes.
Can we do this by saying, I so moved according to what our attorney is telling us?
Yes, and I would say if you could also add on there pursuant to section 551.071 of the Texas Local Government Code pertaining to consultation with an attorney.
So moved.
I second.
Motion made by Gonzalez and second by Ms. Castillo to go into closed session pursuant to section 551.071, the Texas Code, to review, let's see, review and resolve the overpayment to EDC Director Tommy Baker as presented by Henrietta Turner. All in favor to go into closed session, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 4-0.
Mr. Chairman, can you call the time?
The time is 6:52.